The calorie guessing game is now officially over, so it won't just be spotty, right? The Food and Drug Administration has announced sweeping rules that will shake up food retailers all over the country. Lori Rothman on the story. Lori, new calorie labeling rules. You've been talking about this all day, but let's talk about what it means to businesses, the average consumer.
Well, Liz, basically it means it's going to cost you and me and all the consumers out there money to know how many calories we're consuming. Now, as you know, New York City and Seattle are already doing this. Well, now the rest of the country will too, because the Food and Drug Administration today unveiled new food labeling rules that require all restaurants, convenience stores, movie theaters, even amusement parks and vending machine operators to clearly display the calories of every food item and alcoholic beverages on sale. The exceptions are food trucks, ice cream trucks, and airlines. So this is all part of the 2010 Affordable Care Act, the idea that if you know how many calories are packed into your meal, you'll make a healthier choice and down the road lower the chances of costly diseases, of course, heart disease, diabetes, even cancer. Already companies like McDonald's, Starbucks, Panera Bread voluntarily displaying calorie counts on their menus. Check shares of these companies, little change today. Others are offering alternative options like the Cheesecake Factory's Skinny-licious meal, all entrees under 600 calories. But already a slew of food retailers will have to join the calorie display club. Names like Burger King, KFC, Papa John's, Applebee's, Kroger, the list goes on, 7-Eleven, Regal movie theaters, Walt Disney Parks, just to name a few. So these labeling rules had been delayed several years as food retailers push back, many asking to be exempt, saying it could cost as much as $1 billion industry-wide, with hundreds of millions of dollars in following years to keep up with the labeling process. The grocery store chain Kroger told the FDA these regulations would mean job losses and higher grocery store bills for customers. But does food labeling force consumers to eat fewer calories? That's the bottom line, right? Well, a study by Stanford University found Starbucks customers in New York City ordered just 6% fewer calories since posting them. Back to you, Liz.
Oh, am I the only one? I love this.
I do too.
I love it. Today I just went to this salad place, Pret a Manger, and I chose the less caloric one.
It does. It cut me out of my white chocolate mocha addiction.
Oh,
because
see?
Yeah, so there's definitely upside to it. The market will decide if this will ultimately work.
Okay, Lori. Rothman, back to Claman. Both LA girls and LA Kings fans. I love it. Great to see you. Thank you very much. How much does seeing calories on the menu impact your ordering decisions at restaurants? I'd love to know what you think on Facebook, because just today I did it. I took the fewer calorie salad there, right? Like us at facebook.com/Liz Claman. Tell me what you also like to eat, which places you do. I'm dying to know. Facebook.com/Fox Business. Like us. Chicken Bellagio. Wow, one serving, 2,130 calories at the Cheesecake Factory. And when you think the Asian chicken salad is less caloric, it's pretty high. So go off the Skinny-licious ones that they have. Definitely. With just a month left to go, if you care about that, this year, Wall Street strategists are beginning to issue forecasts for 2015. The numbers are looking less robust. Ex-Jeremy Siegel, who was on earlier in the show exclusively. According to the Wall Street Journal, many experts are calling for gains of just 5% or less. Now, by comparison, the S&P stock index already up almost 12% this year. How should you be positioning your portfolio for the year ahead? He is Zoltar. Jim Bianco, Bianco Research President, joining me with his predictions for the new year. A measly 5%. Jim, I guess you're about to throw freezing cold water on even that.
Yeah, you know, in one hand, you could say that that's somewhat contrarian, because when these guys do have a low forecast, the market tends to do better. But if you look at the fundamentals that are based on that, you understand why, and I think there's some logic to it. Earnings growth has been decelerating in recent quarters and in recent months. The strong dollar is working badly against it, because all the foreign profits companies have get translated into a stronger currency, so that means that they get less. On top of that, the world economy is slowing down. Japan's slowing, Europe's slowing, China's slowing. A lot of the emerging markets are slowing.
But we're speeding up, aren't we, Jim? Isn't the United States looking good?
Yes, but half of S&P 500 revenues comes from foreign sales. So we're going to be selling into markets that are slowing down, into a weaker currency, and translating that back into U.S. profits. And that's why I think what you also find is Wall Street has some of the lowest profit estimates for 2015 that we've seen since the end of the financial crisis.
Okay.
Only about 8% going into it right now. Usually it's around 12 or 15.
Can I bring up the good GDP reading? The Q3 second revision. I mean, this is like box office numbers. It's the best weekend since 2012 when it was a Monday, starting with a Thursday and Memorial Day. But look, this was a good reading, 3.9%. What's your favorite piece of data on your data dashboard going into 2015? What should we be watching that you really care about?
You're right that the third quarter numbers were pretty good, but the question is what are fourth and first and second quarters going to look at? To that end, I look at the price of crude oil. I think it is a demand indicator. I think the reason crude oil is down as much as it is it's not about supply. We all knew about fracking. You probably did stories on it 3 years ago. That's nothing new. What is new is the world is slowing and potentially going to drag the U.S. down a peg or two, not into recession or anything like that. And so crude oil is a demand indicator. And at $74 right now, it's telling you that there's less demand and that the economies are slowing, and that's a problem.
Okay, that's the first time in at least 6 days on our air that I've heard anybody say that. Everybody loves the lower oil prices because it means more money in consumers' pockets, but this is a new twist on that. You say it is a demand issue. Okay, so OPEC is meeting Thursday. They can't control themselves. They put out too much when it comes to oil. I think it's a supply issue, but then we'll disagree on that. So if you were to advise your mom or your grandparents on what to do with their portfolio, is there an allocation? Where do you stand on treasuries?
Well, treasuries, I know that you had Dr. Siegel on, and I didn't see it, but I'm assuming he's going to tell you they're the worst investment in the world because that's what everybody thinks.
Well, he said go into dividend-paying stocks that are solid because, my goodness, why wouldn't you want a Pfizer at 3-4% or another company, a REIT, perhaps?
Right. And the Treasury market is up 23% this year if you own the long bond. It's been one of the better years it's ever had, and I don't see any reason why it's going to slow down anytime soon. The U.S. Treasury market has been a very good investment this year. I suspect it's going to be a very good investment going into the beginning of next year. Now, you may not want to buy the 30-year because it has a lot of what we call duration risk on Wall Street, but nevertheless, it's been a good investment, and I think it will be if the economies are going to struggle. If crude oil is, if I'm right, and crude oil is telling us there's a demand problem out there as well too, that will continue to be the case. As far as what I would tell my grandmother or my mother or anybody else along those lines, I do think that the stock market's going to return around zero next year. That means not bad, not good. It's somewhere around. You know what? We were around zero this year until 3 weeks ago, and the whole gain this year came in the last 3 weeks. And small cap stocks are up 2% this year right now, and most of that's come in the last 3 days.
Well, and the Russell's been spotty as well. But Jim, we welcome all perspectives. Jim Bianco, Bianco Research President. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We've got a record for the Dow right now, but we're waiting on Hewlett-Packard numbers coming out after the bell, the closing bell, just 4.5 minutes away. The markets during the final moments. Stay tuned.